Yeah. Mia Pierson here, licensed marriage and family therapist. That just sounds like a nice ring to it.
Official.
Sounds official.
It is official.
It's official.
Come on.
And I'm on the couch with the real Jasmine Jordan. I got the real
The fact that I will
Jordan.
never live down the handle, especially for my people. But really, when I was creating it back then, it was just kind of like what was available, what worked, or whatever. But you're right, the real.
You are the
Not to be confused.
real
with the
Jasmine
fake.
Jordan. Well, I'm proud of you. Number one, let's start there. I'm so proud. I had the beautiful pleasure of going to your listening party.
Yes.
Can we talk about the growth?
Man.
The growth. So tell me, for you as an artist, and I remember from the very beginning, and as I was listening to the music, and I think that was one of my comments in there, was like,
Yes.
I can hear the growth in each song, the confidence, the strength. Where did you pull that from?
Yeah, I mean, life experience. Anytime you continue doing something, you're going to get better. You're going to evolve. You're going to become more confident. And I think that's absolutely what happened with the songwriting, with the project. I think that, with anything, the more you do it, the longer you do it, the bolder you become, the more confident you become, the more life you've experienced, so that there's more things you can talk about.
I hear it in the music, in not only the voice, but in the words, in the lyrics, in what you're actually writing.
Yeah.
And that is the growth, that is evolution. And I'm wondering, of course, me being the therapist that I am,
Yes.
I know that you've been on your personal therapy journey for the past 2 years and some change, which kudos to you, because it takes a very strong person to come into an office like this and talk to a complete stranger right on the couch and say, yo, I got like some stuff that I need to handle. So with you and your music and your evolution, how do you feel like therapy has helped you with your writing?
Yeah, so I think it has helped me. I think I've always been vulnerable, because I think there were places in real life where I maybe had a defense mechanism up, but then when I would write, it would be like a channel, it would be an opportunity to get it off my chest and to start healing. But I think now that there's levels to it, right? I think because of therapy, I feel safer. I feel like I've allowed myself more freedom to be more vulnerable. I've given myself permission to deep dive and to even challenge myself in the studio. The song doesn't have to have a solution in it. Sometimes you're in the midst of an emotion and you know that there's gonna be something that comes out of it, a lesson, whatever. But sometimes it's just F this. I hate this feeling and I'm so hurt that I'm gonna sit here for a second. And just allowing myself, giving myself that permission to go all the places that my spirit is guiding me.
Yeah. You said something really key. You said giving myself permission, feeling safe to be vulnerable. That's such an oxymoron.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right,
because vulnerability is something that when we hear it, we're ooh, I have to open myself up and be transparent, and you get to really see what I'm thinking, right?
Right.
But then when you're allowing yourself to feel safe doing that, it's I am feeling safe in essence being naked right now. And I feel like you had to take that pause, had to take that break in your life, had to take that what we call intermission, new album title. You had to take that pause.
Intermission to work on my intermission.
You feel me?
Okay.
You had to take that break.
It wasn't necessarily intentional. The intermission, the break, the last 5 years, not releasing an EP in 5 years, only doing a couple singles within a long time frame. That wasn't necessarily my plan, but that's what I needed. That's what I was guided to do. And it ended up having so much purpose. It ended up influencing so much of the project, the music, the lyrics, the right, because there were so many experiences during during this break, right? And therapy definitely, I think a lot of what therapy is, I say this a lot of times because I sometimes get responses from people who are like, yeah, no, but therapy seems cool, but like I already do a lot of introspection. I already talk to friends. I already like think I'm like, no, I feel that, I get it, but I am that person, right? And like my friends know this, like we talk about everything. We deep dive, we pray, we like go in, we read books together, like whatever it may be. Like I've never been a person who holds on to things. I've always been a person who heals by like getting it out of my system. So, but even with having already, I guess, had that skill or, you know, been practicing that in my real life, something special about having an unbiased therapist who can really, what therapy has done for me, what my therapist has done for me is she's helped me connect the dots. She's helped me better understand why I move the way that I move in some ways, why I have repeated some cycles, why, like in what ways I'm operating unhealthy, like in what ways I'm not choosing myself, in what ways I need to extend grace, you know, like it just really has helped. It's like you can do a certain amount of healing on your own, but there's levels to it again. Back to the levels thing. Therapy is that other level that has created more accountability. Just it's been a really beautiful experience, even when we've talked about the difficult things, even when I've cried on the couch, which I've absolutely done multiple times, you know, and it is really safe. And I guess that safeness from the therapy sessions somehow
it transcends out.
Yes, it really did.
You're
it really did.
Your real you, and you are becoming okay. I feel like with that authentic, and I even tell clients that when you are accepting of who you are, but I mean like who you really are, not the person you pretend to be when you go out in the world. Who you actually are when you are 100% okay with that. There's nothing that anyone else can say to you that is going to make you feel any different. And my therapist, I have a therapist. As a therapist, I have a therapist. And one thing she told me, and I wrote it down in my notes on my phone, was first seek to understand, then understood.
Say that again.
Seek to understand.
Seek to understand.
Then understood. So what that means is I'm seeking to understand me, who I am. Then I'm worried about how I'm understood, if you will. Like how other people see me, right? But in all honesty, once I'm so concrete and I know who I am, I can actually care less if you understand me or not. Because I understand. And that's the person who I have to live with, right? And I think on your journey and I've just watched you grow, literally, not just in music, but personally. I've seen you grow professionally, and I know that there's been bumps in the road, right? When it comes to medical things and things of that nature. And I can only imagine that therapy has helped to give you that perspective even more of, yo, this is a gift, and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability. God gave you that gift. He gave you that gift of music. He gave you your voice, right? And so your voice is very, very important. But it's also important that sometimes we have to quiet our voice and listen.
You're making me tear up. Why am I tearing up right now? I don't know. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I mean, it's funny because, right, this is reminiscent of like a therapy session in some ways as well, right? At least like symbolically, like the couch and sitting here with one person feeling open and kind of deep diving. But like, I think when you said that, it triggered me because it's like, so often it's just always like, what's next, right? And another thing that I've been working on is being present, and it's opportunities with friends, with community, with a therapist who you've been going to, right, like repeatedly, like those reminders that, man, you've been through some things. Like this journey Like, you see, like, everyone sees the outcome of the, you know, the content, the music, the this, the that, and there's so much of the story that's not told, you know, which is why I appreciate these conversations, because I just think it's critical to, like, acknowledge that, like, self-care, the way that shows up, the way that ultimately pours into every other area of your life, including your art, you know, most importantly, in some ways, like, your art, right?
Yeah.
Like, your purpose. It's just a beautiful reminder that, like, challenges have come up and we've moved forward.
I mean, the biggest challenge of the world right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
That's a challenge, right? And we're like, we're all going through this together. And I was like, the beautiful journey that this is, and when I tell you, my heart and my prayers goes out to anyone that has lost somebody affected or anything by COVID-19. Truly, my thoughts and prayers are with you, because I cannot imagine having a feeling like that in a time where we have to be so disconnected.
Yes.
But it's also something very comforting in the fact that we are all going through this together.
Yes.
No one person is dealing with it by themselves. Like, being together, and I think that is a piece of what therapy does. It helps you be together with yourself. Right? Like, it still all comes back to yourself. And, like, the pandemic, literally at the top of 2020, I've been telling my therapist this is the year of clarity. It's 2020, we can see so clear.
Right.
And then it was like, ooh, you're going to be in this house for 9 months.
Right.
And you're going to work from home.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to see your friends.
Right.
And you're going to have to go around every couple weeks getting tested for this thing that you cannot see. And that made me realize so clearly what was important to me.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I ever used the word pandemic in my vocabulary before 2020.
I was like, a what?
What is a pandemic? Like, what?
I think I remember Googling it. Like, what is
honestly. So, like, I mean, you know, I think you're right. Like, it's like all this stuff is happening before, and then this happens, and then you're thrown a whole new set of challenges, right? And man, never ever have I been more grateful to be in therapy, like, during this year, because I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing, right? At the top of the year, February, my birthday, like, what? Gosh, I was ready. I was making moves. I was ready to move across the country. I was like, yo, this is happening. My project's coming out this year. Yeah. This is what's happening. This is what, like, I am in a new decade of life. Like, I'm ready. I'm embracing this. Like, what? Slap. Just slap. Just, I was like, no. Like, slapped in the face. But, again, right? Clarity. Sometimes you just don't know what you need, and you would never make time for it, make space for it. You would never even, like, orchestrate it to come together, because you're not thinking that it's a need. And then God steps in and has a way of, like, giving you what you need, but something you would have never asked for. And I've gotten so much clarity as to, like, what's important, what's not important. And also, I guess, you know, as I'm talking to you, what I'm reminded of too is, like, the resilience. How much resilience we have. Even though it's been, like, a shitty ass year, 2020 seems to be ending with so much creative energy, so much optimism, hope, right? People have known pain this year, but they've also known joy somehow, right? And it just really inspires me, because I'm like, man, this year has, I think, really revealed the true colors and the true essence of our strength. Because to be in this position, to be in this season, and to still be able to produce, to apply for jobs, to pay your bill, like, whatever your thing is, right? It's different for everyone. For me, it was like, oh, you still gonna put out this project. But I didn't say that. I mean, I was like, it has to come out this year. But I was like, oh my God, like, so overwhelmed at moments, like, in moments, so anxious, because I was like, I don't know how that's going to happen. Therapy, I've said this before, is a toolbox, and throughout your therapy sessions, you're putting new tools in that toolbox to navigate life more responsibly, with more confidence, with more peace, with more self-awareness, and all of that pours directly back into other people, into like being able to do good unto others as well, because you're making sure you're good. And so I'm grateful that I started collecting these tools the last 5 years, but specifically the last 2 with therapy. I think, you know, it was preparing me for such a time as this.
And
like,
that is why we say therapy should be a proactive thing, not a reactive.
Yes.
Don't wait until something happens and now we're falling apart and we're like, I gotta get therapy.
Right.
And you're trying to find a therapist and calling and you go to the doctor. I always say this, once a year, you go to the doctor for your physical, just because that's just what you're supposed to do, because you check it on your body, right?
Right.
You go to the dentist twice a year, just because you want to make sure these teeth is real nice.
Right.
Why don't you do the same thing for your mind?
Exactly. No, it's so true. It's so true. And I'm committed to keeping it up. I think my whole life, you know, I've already seen how much it's changed as a result of it. And, you know, I hope that other people feel that, you know, when they listen to the project. Like, I hope that it inspires someone else to keep digging, you know, and to give yourself the gift of therapy, which is giving yourself the gift of a form of freedom that I don't know that you can get it anywhere else. Like, you can get freedom other places, but that is a very specific type of freedom that I really, you know, hope everyone gets the privilege and opportunity to experience, because it really does lead into every area of your life.
I feel like we need a slogan for that. Give yourself the gift of therapy, the gift that keeps on giving.
Okay, Hallmark card. Okay, Hallmark card.
Because it is. The gift that keeps on giving. It is, because you're taking these tools and you're going out in the world and like, you're gonna keep what you got in therapy, man. I'm telling you, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
I love it, and I love you. Thank you for having me on the couch today, for being brilliantly you and just allowing me in on your journey and pouring into me and pouring in, you know, every single person in my life has impacted the music in some way or another, you know, even if it's just because you guys allow me to be completely me, you know, like the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the Mariah Carey shenanigans that Mia specifically loves. So thank you, my friend. I love you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did I told you this one was it.
Yeah.
Remember that. This one is it. And I'm not saying it because I'm your friend. Because I'm your friend, I would tell you the truth.
Right.
I don't know. But I truly feel like this one. I don't usually have my therapist with me.
I know. Luckily, I'm not.